lot of misinformation. You have, the things that was done, track record in California. A lot of people have ran with that.
Harris has a track record of doing certain things to black men or just the black community as a whole, but so does Donald Trump. So once again, I'm up in the air.
What misinformation have you heard as it pertains to this current election and candidates?
When it comes to Kamala Harris, they say we're not going to vote for her. But one of the reasons they say they won't vote for her is because she threw thousands of black men in jail for, marijuana cases.
How we consume information now is more so in a bite-sized way. So a lot of times you get the sensationalization of what they put out there first, and people just hold on to that and don't necessarily do the research.
Like, if you just do the research, it's far from the truth. You have a phone, you can Google it.
Do you think there are unfair judgments that black men are uneducated with their votes?
You say uneducated? I'll say to a degree, yeah, man, to a degree. But I would say uninterested would even be better, though.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right, Vic, thank you for that. And you went to the streets, Vic. You spoke to a lot of brothers. I'm sure even some of them didn't even make the tape. But that is a pervasive mentality out there. Or is it? Let me ask you. What did you see? Is it that pervasive? Do a lot of people think that?
Speaking to black men on the street in North Carolina, many brothers had concerns about Kamala Harris's history as a prosecutor, as did I, being victims of the prison industrial complex. I'm a legal cannabis entrepreneur myself. So when I first heard the figures that she incarcerated thousands of black men for marijuana, I was very skeptical. Now, when you look into the actual numbers, it was 45 men in total that were sentenced for marijuana charges, and that's not specified by race. On the other hand, a main point of conversation is Donald Trump's storied history of racism. And the reality is that you have a candidate here who is supporting ideas of blanket immunity for police.
So this is supposed to be a Black Men Summit, which it's on BET, which means it's in support of Kamala. So why are you bringing up Donald Trump? Why you guys always have to bring up Donald Trump? Just tell us what you're going to do. What are your plans? Quit bringing up the opponent's deficiency, because if I had a plan and I'm gonna stand firm on my plan, I'm just gonna tell you what my plan is. If my opponent, I'd be like, you know what, he's an idiot, I'm not talking about that. But look, here's what we're gonna do for you. And we're not just gonna do this to get your vote. We're actually going to do these things. Why do they always bring up Donald Trump? Even it lets you know that these people are brainwashing their talking heads, and they just bringing up this guy. They're bringing up Orange Man.
These are the police that are the modern day manifestation of slave catchers and overseers, and that blanket immunity is to give them freedom to kill us with freedom from prosecution. So.
Oh, good job.
I want to get a quick fact check from the president and CEO, also a frat brother, of the NAACP, Derek Johnson. Now, Brother Johnson, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not as dumb as I think I am sometimes, but why was I so susceptible to it? Why did I believe something that caused such harm? Even now, some of the things they're saying, I'm sure I had a hand in. I mean,
fear is the most powerful motivator. It either paralyzes us or propels us. Law enforcement against black men, it has been a long-standing fear from slavery forward. And so when you can tap into that vein and you can hear something that could have a kernel of truth, she was a state prosecutor. She was a local prosecutor. The kernel of truth.
So I always try, I really try real hard to approach these things, these type of discussions, because I already know what it's going to be. You have somebody like D.L. Hughley leading this thing, and I already know what it's going to be. And I always try to take a step back, and I always try to approach these things open-minded. But when you get these people that get up here, like, these people are very educated people, which to me, when I hear very educated people, I hear very indoctrinated people. I always try to approach these things with open mind. Someone is gonna say something, and when they say these things, it's just speech, but they actually act and they live their life in agreement with the things that they say and the things that they do. And it's just so disappointing. It's so disappointing. And of course, Kamala Harris held all these positions, but does anybody say what was her job performance in these positions? She held all these positions great. It's hard. It's exponentially hard to soar to the heights that she has gotten. You have to have a lot of education. You have to have a lot of context. You have to do a whole lot of work to get to the positions that she has gotten to. That's undisputed. No one's gonna disagree with that. But once you're in these positions that she has gotten to, what was your record of these? What was your job performance in these positions? No, they don't say anything about her job performance. Well, the dummies don't, but the people that are on the ground that has been privy to the things that she has done, of course she did this, attorney general and prosecutor and this, but what was her record? And I don't mean how many people was convicted, this and that. What was her record with this so-called community that she is all of a sudden supporting? It's just so much. But let's listen to this person. VP Harris' record as prosecutor. Let's see if he is actually going to speak on her record as prosecutor, because I would love to hear that.
Truth of she are lining up with police officers who were not in our best interest, that's easy to accept as a reality. The concept of progressive prosecutors really came into being around 2015. And when more progressive prosecutors started getting elected across the country, we began to see more reforms locally. And she was a part of a lot of those conversations. California today is not California in 1992 when NWA was saying F the police.
Yeah.
We are in a new reality now.
Right. And thank you.
What did he just say? I don't know what he just said. In the comments, just tell me what he just said. Just like right over my head. Maybe I'm just not smart enough because he's a lawyer or something like that. I don't know what he just said.
Now, Ben Crump, what is your view of VP Harris and her record when it comes to criminal justice?
You know, as a civil rights lawyer, I got to interact with Vice President Harris when she was the Attorney General of California. We were not on the same size, but I saw her passion to do the right thing and her passion to try to help black people. When we think about it, DL, you have to think that this is a sister who grew up in Oakland, California, and she chose that the best way I can help the system is to be a prosecutor, be on the inside. Most of the time, you have people like me, we're fighting on the outside.
But don't we want that?
We need people on the inside.
That's your point. Yeah. I think we put prosecutors, black prosecutors, who we elect a lot, in an untenable position. We want them to be protectors of the community, which that's the gig, that's the profession. You work with her. I'm sure you were in court with her on the other side of the state. But
out of that, we gained a healthy respect for one another. While everybody talks about prosecutors being tough on crime, she came up with a concept called being smart.
Is this just me, or can this dude, Ben Crump, very famous ambulance chasing type dude, anytime a black man is killed by someone other than black, he comes to the rescue? And can he can't barely talk. And they're always putting a microphone in front of his face. He can't even barely talk. I'm not talking bad about the guy or anything like that, but he just can barely talk. And I'm glad I stopped it right here, because we're going to continue to see that he can't talk. And you have to be able to talk.
On crime. When she became prosecutor in San Francisco,
That man with no facial hair, I don't trust him anyway.
she said, I'm gonna be smart on crime. She had this back on track policy that said when young brothers and sisters messed up, she said that if it's your first time and you're under the age of 18, they're not gonna charge you with this crime for life. If you didn't get in any more trouble, and if you graduated from high school or you got a GED, they would expunge your record. Now, what prosecutors we know when we were growing up would treat us like that? That's Kamala Harris.
It's the notion of.
And here's this other thing. It's like when people start talking about us, we, that, why does that just irritate me? It's not us. It's not we. It's each individual person doing your part. And then you come together as a group. But when you're just speaking as us, as we, and you're only demonstrating that you're out for your own personal gain, which people like Ben Crump has only demonstrated that, because if he cared about us and if he cared about we, he would be going into Chicago. He would be going into Chicago and be like, I mean, I know he's an attorney. You know, what type of attorney? He may be like a personal injury attorney, but we know when he shows up, he only shows up. We already stated that. But if he cared about us, if he cared about we, if any of these people, you got a few millionaires on this stage, if they cared about us, if they cared about we, they will be doing things to curb the death. I hear numbers of black men dying in these inner cities and all these crimes that are committed and this, that, and the other. Do we understand that these type of dudes that's on this stage in their seats, they're prominent. That's why they're sitting here with all these other subordinates around them. They can affect positive change, but they don't. They continue to be with and kowtow to the Democratic Party because all of them think that they're above you, the normal person. So let's continue, because this, I don't want this to go no longer. But let's see. I can go all day with this.
Justice tempered with mercy. Michael, we spent a lot of time talking about our roles, but we need prosecutors. There's no debating that. What is your message to black men who have this reticence because of their role as a prosecutor?
I'd say open your mind to the data. It amazes me often.
This dude, he was in a movie that I like, and I like his characters, but bruh, where's the bass in your voice? And I'll just continue.
How many times Democrats have to provide receipts for all of the things that they do and for all of their qualifications. And yet on the other side, there's just no accountability. When you look at what Kamala Harris, who's been a public servant basically her whole life.
Right.
She is the most qualified candidate to run for president right now.
There's no debating it.
So, we can sit here and debate on, you know, what her record was as a prosecutor. But like you were saying earlier, let's talk about Trump's record.
No, let's not.
Let's talk about his record. What has he done to be qualified to be in this position?
He got some dope tennis shoes. You seen him, man? Come on now.
You know, that's the thing that, like, you know, we never seem to like hold him in his administration, who has more felonies and indictments than any other administration in the history of politics. And yet we worried about her being a prosecutor.
You know, he'll sit and go, I'm gonna be tough on crime. I'm like, don't you got a court date next month? That's crazy. You're gonna be tough on crime after you meet with your probation officer. Oh, there it is.
Exactly.
Coming up next, we got crime, gun violence, and protecting our communities. That is coming up next.
So yeah, we're gonna be done with this. It's like everyone on that stage is a millionaire / multi-millionaire. And at the very least, they want to, at the very least, they want to keep their position. Even old boy over there. And Ben Crump, he's found his niche and he's stuck to it. To me, that's just, I believe in karma. So your time is coming when your time is coming, regardless. Not today. It may not be 5 years from now. It may not be 20 years from now, 30 years from now. On your deathbed, your time is coming because you know what's going on.